Welcome back, friends. Match number 3, the upper semis, is going to happen right now between Toronto Defiant versus Timeless. Toronto Defiant, looking at this roster, I mean, I just talked to someone, their first match. They are looking scary.
They look scary.
Yeah, very terrifying. I think if anything, this meta shakeup creates some kind of opening. However, even for Timeless, who I think is one of the stronger teams in NA, maybe they're one of the teams who could actually give Toronto a tough test. And, you know, LFO did as well, made at least won a map against Toronto, the first time that's happened so far in the OWCS. But the question is did they just wake the beast? Like, is Timeless walking into a very, very angry Toronto Defiant? That's the question we'll have to see.
I feel like with this matchup, though, we're like getting to the meat and potatoes. Like, this is where compositional matchups could really matter, because I do think in the first series we saw Toronto Defiant, they like to lean on these kind of dive compositions. We saw someone play out of Doomfist, for example, and then they had to make that late swap over to the Sigma to counter some of this Orisa gameplay coming out from LFO. And, you know, it was a back and forth, even though Toronto Defiant were most dominant. Timeless, could they now, with Icy playing tank for this team, throw in some of those compositions, make it difficult for Toronto Defiant to play their own game? They certainly have the talent, Jake.
As well, I think one of the toughest tests for Toronto's dive is going to be Chopper and Rocket. Rocket, one of the best tracers in North America, up-and-coming player, but already elite on the tracer in particular, and Chopper on the Sojourn is really where I think we've seen him shine the brightest. And those are two heroes that can really punish dive, right? You're not really running shields or stuns, things to control these heroes. You have to beat them in a straight-up deathmatch, and I think, you know, Chopper and Rocket, they really have potential to take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at the maps. I mean, we're going to Nepal first, selected by Toronto. They banned Ilios, and then Timeless banned Samoa.
This is so interesting for Toronto, showing they really are analyzing things, playing around, punishing their opponents, because they picked Ilios last time. And now they're going to Nepal. They're just trying to throw wrenches at their opponents, even before the game starts.
All right, the players are ready. We're going to jump right in. Before we go, really quickly, who you guys got? Because Jack wanted this.
Toronto.
All right, Jack, Matt, take it away.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Thank you, Danny. Yeah, Toronto for both Johnny and Jake, Matt. Well, you look at that. That's a good pred.
I mean, it's the safest pred, right? But
too safe.
no, this Timeless roster is like tremendous, right? We know how talented they are top to bottom, and we just saw Toronto, like, that series against LFO, like, could have very well have gone 5 games. It was not exactly the most convincing performance that we've seen.
They lost a
so
map.
This one should be very close, right? I mean, saying they lost the map, right? I know, crazy, but like
it is crazy.
Obviously, as we've gone through, you know, Swiss groups, the competition like ramps up. I feel like at this point, though, like, this is where you start to really figure out who the best teams in the regions are.
Yeah, Toronto is definitely up there. I mean, this is Timeless's chance, and like Jake was saying, Rocket and Chopper's chance too, to really elevate their game against some of the best to ever do it. And I think them being mad prospects in NA, this is really their time, because Overwatch League wasn't attainable for them, clearly, right? Because they didn't end up making it, but maybe if it went on for another year, like, they would have been up there messing with the very best. And you're going against champions now, and there's no slouches in the backline either. CJ and Opener are other stellar players. Yeah. And also, they're a team that is not afraid to use their substitutions either. They were the number one team to use subs coming out of groups into the main stage, taking full utilization of it. And with the ever-evolving meta, you expect that to be such a boon for them.
I mean, look at that. I mean, 8 viewers, 88%.
There are Timeless believers out there, and I appreciate it.
They're Jake pilled right there. I mean, that is like, Jake could have said Timeless, and this would have been 88-12 the other way. But no, I also think part of this is that a lot of people obviously know the Toronto Defiant brand. A lot of people obviously know a lot of players on that roster, right? You know, from last year. You know, maybe some people haven't seen a lot, you know, of the players on Timeless. Where, you know, I think, you know, regardless of who wins this series, I think the next time these two teams play, it won't be as lopsided as you think. See here via like a fan reaction.
Yeah, it feels like Toronto have had a little bit of a head start, especially with the talent, but, you know, everybody's creeping up there. Every single stage that we have and every single year that kind of passes, the competition will get closer and closer and closer and closer. Let's jump into map number 1, though. Toronto Defiant take on Timeless. A team that everybody kind of expects to win and potentially win one of the lands too, against a team full really of up-and-comers, sprinkling a couple of vets in there, of course, as well, in terms of opener, of course. But as we go on to Nepal, Matt, what we expected. More dive? I think that's the name of the game for Toronto. Their wheelhouse is just, like, they want to play dive. They want to play quick. They want to play fast. Maybe less of the Doomfist. Someone on Winston is a scary prospect, or maybe after seeing the last game, maybe thinking Orisa's the go-to here.
Yeah, well, look, Orisa obviously is really good on Nepal, just in general. I agree. I think their dive was probably better, right? They looked decent on the Sigma type stuff as well. So this is like Toronto Defiant coming out on Orisa and like almost like a direct counter here from Timeless. So they're going to have the Symmetra in play, fight on the point there with Rocket, and then Chopper just for that consistent damage.
Yeah, it's definitely an easy target to get your beam charged off. That being the Orisa, if you are the Sim. Chopper taking a little bit of damage there, a little bit of a reposition. Oh, Vega was so lucky to survive there. Unfortunately, opener not quite as lucky as Merit with a headshot onto the enemy Lucio player. Had Disruptor Shot doing a whole lot of work too, that ticking damage. And Rocket went one way, Icy went the other, and no protection for the Sim on the point. It's going to be quite a quick fight, you'd imagine, although Chopper's still clearing up here. An additional kill onto someone is going to be nice, but Toronto still controlled the point. A boop onto Merit to force them back. And, I mean, this isn't over. Although Toronto are very firmly in control of the positioning.
I think now that Sugar Free's back, I think it's probably a little bit of just like a hold here for Timeless until, yeah, they get Icy back in the fight.
Just back in. Sugar Free dragged back down to earth there. That Vortex just
point flips,
catching them. As the point does flip, yeah, you're not half wrong, Matt. Sugar Free finding a lot of purchase on the side here and a lot of free ultimate charge too, nearing that duplicate.
No, CJ just builds up this Kitsune rush so fast as they're going to decide to use it. Probably feel like they're a little bit too weak on the point. Didn't want to allow Toronto to kind of like sit around and build up towards them. So they end up using that ultimate push on in, but the kills traded rather quickly. Chopper, though, comes up with 2.
I mean, the rush on the point, I mean, there's no CJ. It's only opening with the heals. There's 5% towards that ultimate too. That sound barrier couldn't come quick enough. But it's actually RuPaul, another champion. Just making taking names and numbers in that kill feed. That was a really nice rush. The tempo play from the Toronto Defiant was so sick there. As soon as the CJ kill came through, someone stepped up on the bridge. They laid down the rush. They just quite literally ran over them like a 4-ton tumbleweed.
Yeah, and they were like down a player or two before that push even came through. So I definitely think it caught Timeless off guard a little bit. Is Toronto 4 ultimates in this fight? Gotta use that.
Nice TP
out already. Oh,
the TP, but opening uses the sound barrier. I think they were all safe from that too. That's a beautiful trade from someone. Terror Surge for beat. You take that any day of the week. Rocket already dead to Merit on the entry. Chopper still wants to move in with the rest of the team, especially as they've got this wall to utilize. Sugar Free and Merit both still have ultimates though, and they can juggle the point pretty easily. Well, there's the overclock, and there come the kills for Merit. Nice little 2-piece. Make it a 3rd. Toronto Defiant, that should be all she wrote. 65% of building. Timeless still with a decent amount of percentage, Matt, and a couple of ults in their bank. But Toronto's Defiant ultimate economy is just sublime as well. A sound barrier and a duplicate for this next fight.
Hey there.
Yeah, I like the switch off of the Sim, though. Like, Rocket moves over to Tracer. I think just the Sim is really difficult to protect. Like, you see the early Suzu there, and then, even having to use the sound barrier to get everybody out with a TP, where the Tracer you can play, a little bit more on your own on an island. Put some pressure on the back line. Also good against the Echo, and just a bit safer.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you. It does feel like Tracer's a must pick. What's more scary than 1 Sojourn? How about 2? Oh, RuPaul is a little bit worse for wear, but Sugar Free still evens it up. There is a rush. Should be a surefire win for Timeless. Ideally not losing anybody else and not using any more ults either, as Toronto Defiant do see themselves in OT, as Rocket just chases down the rest of the stragglers.
And I like this comp for Timeless. Obviously winning that fight, they end up using the rush. They'll have to go against a rush in the next one with nothing to deal with it. But I think this puts a lot of pressure on Sugar Free on the Echo, and that's going to force them to swap. I think this is a good decision for Toronto as well. Like, you're kind of flying into that Tracer on the Echo. You decide to just make the switch right now.
All right, trying to push out on the high ground. just trying to get Icy in a position on the point is beneficial for them, but also beneficial for Icy in a weird way too, because he's got Annihilation. His point is definitely going to hurt, regardless of which way it swings. This Annihilation could just
it's
be
a recall, though.
The round winner. No recall on Rocket too there. Is a pulse bomb in hand, but Icy already goes down. Nice stick from Rocket, but the Annihilation was just nowhere to be found. Toronto Defiant just steamroll over Timeless there. Clock's ticking now. I mean, you've got Rocket to touch, Matt, but that's about it. Oh, okay, narrowly didn't touch thanks to someone. He's going to get the retouch, still has recall, but CJ's already dead. A slow bleed out now for Timeless. Is yeah, that sand dial firmly running out of sand, and boom, straight on top of Icy's head as he pushes in. Dude was half HP before he landed in there and got just obliterated. That's a nice round win there for Toronto
They never got any chance to use that Annihilation, Josh.
Yeah, it was died so fast.
Yeah, I mean, someone using the spear spin just
yeah, that spear spin just pushed them away, and then they couldn't use the Annihilation. Yeah, that was a little rough there from Icy. I mean, you're thinking in that situation, like, okay, this is last fight for sure. Maybe we can get 99%. We pop the Annihilation. Maybe I have a Nemesis form, and so I can kind of time those up so I'm even stronger going into these fights and more sustainable too, because you can just kind of cross your arms through both. But yeah, it didn't end up working out. Sanctum, next map. Up next, or next round, I should say. Is Toronto Defiant and Timeless both running out here with a Sigma by the looks of it.
Sigma's on both sides. Okay, so I got disconnected there for a brief second, and I come back, and now everything's gone sideways. So we have Sigma for both teams, and then Timeless decides to just run the. I think just running the Tracer, like Sugar Free was so good in our series we had earlier, playing the Echo. I definitely think you need to counter that. You cannot allow him to just kind of like reign free in the sky. So I like the idea of consistently playing the Tracer here.
Oh, opener's chill. He's chill like that. Manages to get away. Mary taking a lot of damage. Good healing coming out from RuPaul. Focusing the right target there. Mira was trying to cap the point. Should be able to as well. Rocket really doesn't really have anything to say there. Did manage to blink onto the point to stop the cap going through. Same with Opener now. Doing a good job of just holding on to this point for as long as possible, but they are just getting focused out one by one. Front line's taking a beating as well as Timeless end up having to walk all the way back to the Mega Health Pack room as someone now pushes up. World-class tank player indeed. It's tough for Icy to stand tall against someone who's already got a Flux coming online.
Yeah, it also feels like a little bit when you play this, when we saw someone on the Sigma earlier, we saw like a Risa comps go into it, and that's an early kill there with some just stickies from Sugar Free. But like playing the mirror feels like it's like kind of what Toronto would want you to do, like play like the safest way possible, where, you know, they kind of know every way to kind of play against these types of compositions, where like earlier we saw like mirror play like the Maga, we saw, you know, the Orisa, right? They really like made them think.
Flux still there, but dodges the rock out. All good. Here's the rush on the high ground. Someone's now in a little bit of trouble. Heard that pulse will go, and there it is. Hello. Goodbye. Dodged out of that one. All good. Two traces now on the ball for Toronto Defiant. The duplicate comes through for Sugar Free. A free pulse bomb at hand. That Flux not finding too much though, but Sugar Free at least finds one. Rocket somehow weaves his way into the back line and kills RuPaul, but they're losing this frontline duel, and they have been since the start, or what it feels like at least. A nice little kill from Rocket again, killing someone. I mean, assassin Rocket right now, but his team just can't win this frontline duel.
Yeah, they push them back with a Kitsune rush, and the Toronto Defiant, they back all the way up in the corner, and then what happens, RuPaul uses a rush of his own, they come right back around the corner, they fight Timeless, and Timeless is so deep at that point, there's nothing they can do.
Flux available from Icy now. They're still struggling to push on this high ground. No rushes on either side, but a sound barrier for Vega. It'll be important for him to hit this if this Flux is anywhere near deadly. But Icy just gets run down. A nice rock from someone as he peeks through Icy's shield. And this is final fight. Icy once again, a complete fish out of water with no chance to use his tank ult at the end of a round. He's going to come back in just a moment, Matt. But Vega's still got this sound barrier, and they need to perma touch too. With Rocket dead, who real touches now? The sound barrier comes out. I mean, Icy can rip it, but it's not enough. Toronto Defiant beat Timeless back. I mean, Icy is just struggling to get much done here, Matt. Toronto just running them aground.
I mean, the first round, right? He has that annihilation, which would have been incredible on the point. They just get into a position where he gets like spear spun by the Orisa, like out and just focus down real quick. And then that time, I think like he pushes up, probably doesn't expect Toronto to like rush in.
Yeah.
They rush right around the corner. He gets hit with an accretion. There's nobody else on Timeless like in position, right? There's nobody that far up around the corner. I mean, also they push that far up around the corner. Those players are dead. So he just gets kind of like soloed out on his own and ends up falling there. And Toronto, a little bit of a statement there in map number 1. They look strong.
Yeah, looks super strong, and someone just showing how flexible of a tank he is. Not just mechanically gifted, but his hero pool is just ginormous. Every tank he's got locked down. I mean, I like the adaptation going to the Sigma, but it's just Icy kind of getting bullied in that 1v1. But Rocket, still, every single time we see Rocket in the server, it doesn't matter if they're winning or losing, he's still coming up with really important picks, really important kills in a lot of these fights. It's just unfortunate the rest of the team can't just use that momentum to push them through. Because, I mean, at the very ending clip there, you saw, like, Rocket picked up both someone and RuPaul, the Kiri and the Sigma at the very end. And man, if those kills come through a little bit sooner, maybe they end up turning that one around, but Timeless right now looking a little bit outmatched.
Yeah, I mean, even like for a pretty close round number 1, the stats would tell you, like just looking at this screen, that it was like a complete wash, complete blowout. But what I would like to see Timeless do, Jack, I'd like to see them run the Orisa-based compositions and like an Orisa kind of like head-to-head. And then I would like to see them play the Tracer. I think playing the Tracer would be pretty beneficial
Rocket
for them.
on the Tracer, so good at that pick. And if he can just still put up those kind of numbers, like, yeah, it's giving his team a little bit of confidence too, right? You're taking down some of these juggernauts, like, the rest of your team's going to rally behind you for sure. Hollywood is our next map. I really like Hollywood. I'm glad we're seeing a lot more of it. We saw a lot of Kings Row before. It was actually banned out by Toronto Defiant here, and Blizzard World was banned out by Timeless. And Hollywood, I feel like, is not too much of a surprise to me, and it's actually something that Jake said on the desk earlier on today, was a lot of teams we've seen in the group stages, and obviously in scrims and stuff too, they pick these 1 maps, and now we're kind of getting the spanner thrown in the works because we've never really seen Hollywood. We saw it sprinkling, but most teams opting to go to Kings, so it can really shake things up.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're playing in groups and Swiss, right, you're probably playing whichever map is most comfortable and not necessarily like trying to, you know, strategize, like counter pick the other team, so to speak, like maybe kind of get out of groups in a game. But now, once you have, you know, a few weeks of footage, a few weeks of like data on some of these teams, you also probably have a good idea of like, hey, you know, we play Kings Row all the time, like, because it's safe, but we're actually probably a little bit better at Hollywood. Like, we kind of want to play that, right? Or we kind of want to play Blizzard World, like these different types of maps. So I think now you're going to start to see like a much different kind of series outlook compared to, you know, what we saw throughout all the groups. Because even like we saw a lot of you know, Coliseo even in groups, and we're seeing like Esperanca almost exclusive today. So 2 subs here for Timeless. It'll be Riker coming in there for Icy, and then Chopper will come out.
Yeah, Sunjin is in, Riker in, like you said, and this is something that we talked about at the top of this series as well. Timeless is number 1, like rank 1 in using their substitutions right now. They're more than happy to swap players in and out, regardless of the role, to get people play time, but also to kind of fit their needs too. And in an ever-evolving meta, after the small hotfix of Mauga, it makes the most sense because the meta is a little bit in flux. Then have a deep bench that utilize a lot. Every player's going to be warmed up, and everybody's getting numbers in officials and in scrims too, and it's a real boon to Timeless, and I'm glad we're seeing some switches here. Also, fresh faces and looking at the game as well. You're only down a map. You're not coming in for that, like, oh, they're on match point, like, we have to now reverse sweep. Like, you're getting new faces in, and you're getting new leadership as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think there's a larger conversation about large rosters,
Sure.
in that, like, especially in this, you know, in this type of ecosystem, right? I think players are going to want to play and want to play often. I think it's like going to be harder to keep like bigger rosters as time goes on, because like some people on this roster probably could start on some other rosters we'll see here this weekend, right? And play
true.
all of the time. So we'll see kind of how the year develops. That's why I also think like a team like Toronto Defiant, right, having players who are so versatile in all of these roles, right, where like you don't really feel the necessity to have to sub and move around. Like, you know, thinking about some of the stuff that happened with Overwatch League at the start, right? Like, you know, there were teams that had somebody who literally just didn't even bother learning other heroes, was literally just one tricking Lucio. Just archaic style of thinking at this point. As someone connects with a rock out the gate, this will have Timeless. They're going to be playing the Winston-based composition here. So I like this. I think you can play like the Orisa, try and make an impact for the backline, but this time it's going to be Riker playing the Winston.
Yeah, I really like dive. Very greedy backline like we saw in Hollywood a little bit earlier on, Matt, with Vega on the Zen. But Sugar-Free
took like 2 Winston right clicks, and then the Sunjin finished him off.
Easy kill for the Sojin, just for sure. Yeah, you don't want to take high ground. Get Vega and RuPaul looking straight at you. Ain't no way. You need some frontline presence. So Reich is there to provide. Still tough to really cap the point. They're taking a lot of spam damage here, but they can kind of jostle in the low ground because only someone can really peek his head over. So they've already got a tick here. Nice little dive too. Forces the lamp. Lamp down. Good rock, but instantly Suzu there by CJ. So Riker doesn't take any follow-up damage. And with someone dead, like, there's no front line to fight. Who touches? It's really up to Sugar-Free and Merit to try and come up with kills. Merit does find one, but where's the next? Sugar-Free definitely cannot find it. Not with an angle like this. Looks like Merit wants to try and get out of dodge too. Ends up just dying on point. That's a good push from Timeless. They end up capping the point.
And I really like the way they played that. Like, a lot of times we've seen teams play this type of style with the Sigma, where they kind of like, hold that position, let the supports do damage. You have the Tracer and the Echo that can, contest, get on the point, whatever. Typically, sometimes we see the Winston jump up, go a little bit too deep, get picked, and then things fall apart. That time, Timeless played it perfectly, though, right? Riker would jump up, put down his shield, do some damage, go back down, and Rocket is the one, like, underneath, like, putting lots of pressure on the backline.
Over to the Diva now as someone. They're still playing this a little bit more of a greedy comp, but that is a nice bit of movement there from someone pushing Riker towards the window as he was trying to jump back down. Too scared of the window, and you should be. Feel the Winston instantly blown up. And someone just perma-holding payload. And now this is where the Toronto Defiant comp really does shine. They can have someone perma-hold this. Vega's on the high ground. If they do get jumped, they've got the lamp, they've got the Transcendence to use too. And now they just hunt for kills, or at least their DPS do.
It's going to be a dupe here. Sugar-Free gonna take the Tracer. I believe he was quite low. As Riker in the back line, he's gonna get Primal here. So keep an eye if he decides to use that as such a
good response.
Takes out Sugar-Free.
Sugar-Free dashing away high in the sky, tries to get away after the duplication did end up getting killed. Sunjin only finding 1 kill might be good enough here as Riker tries to contend with the high ground, and Merit peeking his little head out a little bit too soon by the looks of it. Gets it torn clean off. A Primal Rage, and Vega surviving to the last possible second there before popping the Transcendence. Is going to meet the rest of his team, but this payload's walking away from them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a force on the Transcendence, and you have Rush and Sound Barrier here to use if you're Timeless, as I believe that was actually a Pulse Bomb that connected from Merit. Suzu'd off. So just trying to basically cycle out players here on the point as Toronto is desperately trying to hold on.
Self-destruct available too. There's the Sound Barrier hits all 5 at Timeless. Self-destruct in the skies. Well, you got to look at somebody. I mean, Sunjin looking at Vega. Vega ends up taking him out. Sugar-Free was up in that sky the whole time, and no one's paying attention to him. No one can really fight Sugar-Free right now, who's really just the main damage dealer coming out from Toronto Defiant. Now Merit is dead. Rocket does take down the Tracer, of course, here, with high ground control almost permanently in favor of Sugar-Free. It's hard for Timeless to do much on the ground when Sugar-Free can just farm them for damage.
Oh, I mean, that is such a massive fight for the Defiant to win. Double support ult on the other side, and just nobody to deal with Sugar-Free. He gets a kill early on a Sunjin, and there's just no answer. And the high ground just controlled by Toronto Defiant during that last fight. Is you see this time they try to put more pressure. He just gets anybody just to get out.
Yeah, 50, 60%. Okay, free Sound Barrier coming in. He's trying so hard to get a beat in. He's trying to get up there. Lucio mechanics. All good. There's the boot. There's the beat. Oh, he's not going to be able to use it anyway.
Doesn't get it off.
Nah, all good. 2 minutes to go, though. Nice ultimate force, though, by Timeless. Now they try and make their insertion into this fight. And an insertion they do. Surgically precise. Merit and Vega instantly dead. RuPaul all on his lonesome. Chased down by Rocket. A double kill for the Tracer and someone with no self-destruct. And that is point B. A much closer affair now for Timeless. Very much warmed up.
It feels like the DPS from Timeless are coming alive, right?
Oh,
It feels
yeah.
like Rocket, you know, every single fight picking up a kill. That time Sunjin able will find one as well. It's now over 3 minutes. Although in the last series we saw LFO versus Defiant. I know the last series we saw Defiant play. You know, LFO could have actually taken that second checkpoint. So defense here for Defiant on Hollywood seems to be something they may have a little bit of a hole in that you can actually, you know, complete the map, have a chance to, is someone will go over to Winston. So we're gonna almost get him here outside of this Echo still.
Uh-oh, time to run. Sunjin's got the railgun. Merit trying to dodge out the way, although trying to take it to Sunjin somewhat, but it is Rocket just demolishing Toronto Defiant right now. 2.5 minutes to go. Warmed up. I mean, whatever he drank in the break, Matt, I don't know if it was like a quadruple espresso or something, but Timeless are locked in.
Jack, are you also locked into this, like, damage-dealing comp if you're the Defiant? Because, you know, if you were going to play Sojourn Tracer, you'd probably have Sugar Free on the Tracer and then Merit play the Sojourn, right? I mean, Merit's such, like, an insane hit scan player where Sugar Free feels like he plays a little bit more of, like, the Echo, Genji, you know, Tracer types of roles.
Feels like they just want to have perma. Oh, wait, where'd that pulse go? Hit the bubble, then drop, then attach to someone by the looks of it, but it didn't end up getting a kill. That soundbite from Opener helping them sustain through that damage. Looks like Toronto Defiant just going to fall flat here on this defense. 1 minute and 40 seconds to go, and someone with a hope and a prayer and a dream and a primal, but it didn't work. Well, Riker, don't worry about using your ult this time, buddy, because you end up getting the cap. 1 minute and 34 seconds for Timeless, finishing with over a minute. Toronto Defiant looking a little lost there by the end of it. A little bit of a snowball.
Didn't even feel like we were watching the same two teams.
Right.
Obviously, some subs that come in there for the Toronto Defiant, not for the Timeless team, right? With Riker coming in for Icy and Sunjin coming in for Chopper, but you know, coming in here, playing the Winston, playing that pretty much throughout the entire map. I'm curious how Toronto now answers on offense, right? Do you play a Winston-based composition of your own? Do you continue to play like Echo? Do you try and match with like Sojourn Tracer? I think a lot of different kind of questions here to answer potentially for the Defiant. At least, obviously, extremely early, just spawn opened up. It looks like, you know, if someone's going to play the Winston, you're going to see, you know, Riker play actually the Div on the other end with Kariko Brig. An interesting setup here. A little bit more defensive, right? Defense matrix, and then obviously Brig to be able to protect the Kariko and the Sojourn if the dive comes in. And then Toronto looks like they're still kind of going to hover around this Echo.
Yeah, I really like this Brig and the Diva. You do need Lucio, but you're so confined in this point, and you're probably going to be playing Cafe at least somewhat, especially with the Sojourn. Oh no, Opener did end up switching. Okay, switch to Lucio in the end. But I still really like the Diva. Diva's access to high ground is a little bit better than Winston's. Obviously, you can kind of use the jets, but it looks like Toronto Defiant also switching up. They see the Diva out of spawn, switch from Winston to Zarya, and now Riker's going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Definitely attacker's advantage in that sense.
Yeah, they want to punish that Diva, right? Like, Riker is not going to be able to kind of like stand here in these positions against that Zarya. It's going to be a little bit tougher to get the Zarya in position, but, you know, you see how fast they're able to chunk down that Diva.
Yeah, Riker trying to push onto the back line there, but it's really tough. I mean, you're also dealing with Lamp and then Lucio Boop as well if you're the Diva, and then you have to deal with the bubbles. Someone not being too greedy either, would much rather use the bubbles to help the team. Does see a wave of incoming damage, and so at least gets a little bit of ult charge along with that energy. Someone in trouble. Oh, apparently not. Apparently his Opener that was in trouble. Nice little Lamp there, saving someone who didn't have bubbles, but he should have one back up yet again as Riker tries to push his way into the back line. The only person diving right now is Riker, because Rocket has also been shut out. A lot of damage coming from Rocket. That pulse bomb nearing Matt, but it's been so hard to stop RuPaul from just getting away with murder almost. Nice pulse bomb onto Merit, and this Riker once again trying to get into the backline and cause RuPaul some hell, but completely ineffective as someone is there for backup. Same with Sugarfree, you can just run down the D.Va after that Matrix has been expunged. Nice little Lamb 2 matching the rush on the point, but with someone just kind of existing in the front line, this is looking almost impossible. Only Rocket can do it apparently. Takes down RuPaul, Matt, but still somewhat just alive and well.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have Rocket on the point here to contest. This is going to actually be sound barrier comes out from Vega and the Defiant, as they feel they absolutely need to win this fight.
Someone still
so
dies.
heavily, and they actually
How does Rocket get away with that? Okay, finally he ends up going down, but someone got focused out completely. Oh, the point ends up getting flipped. Oh, Sunjin thought they could make a hero play, but no, it was a hero's downfall at Merit's hands.
And I feel like now for Timeless, you probably just swap Winston, right? Like, I don't think you want to consistently play this D.Va into the Zarya. Although possibly could be wrong. Maybe you want to get self-destruct use. Like,
you can still take control of the high ground if you push the Zarya off repeatedly. Like, that's the aim of the game. There is just have Opener or Riker just perma push the Zarya off the high ground, like literally boop her, and then they just kind of waste a lot of time. But yeah, with an overclock of them just kind of marching over the bridge, a little bit more difficult. Opener, you really messing with the best? Yeah, die like the rest, son. 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go. No Lucio, no
Riker's
hope.
gonna get staggered out here too.
Yeah, that's a little stagger. Not the worst stagger in the world, but you'll take it. A couple of extra seconds and 3xing the point. It's going to be a rapid second checkpoint.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're still on the D.Va, so still going to commit to the D.Va coming out of the spawn now. I mean, defense matrix, maybe trying to, like, you know, can you eat a grab that comes through, right? You still have sound barrier for it, right? But probably a little bit more just to try and continue to try and fight for this high ground. Is someone, thankfully, for Timeless, doesn't have any charge, right? Has not been able to build up anything.
Yeah, they're definitely thanking themselves for that. I mean, ideally, like I mentioned before, once you use those bubbles defensively, so no energy for the Zarya for the majority of the fights. Graviton Surge is going to be hard to get around Riker, but you only need to catch one. Lucio would be nice, Sojourn too. Graviton Surge thrown out, where'd it go? That is the question. Looks like it went into the back line. Sound barrier comes in, but Vega! Oh, that was an AJ again. I believe a second one off today. Vega hitting that sound barrier and unfortunately getting taken out by a railgun. They're going to try to go to the high ground. They did end up missing the lift there, but with 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go and without a sound barrier, a little bit worse for wear.
Hey, look, that Timeless finishes with 1 minute and 34 in the time bank. Like, any way you drag this out here for Timeless is a huge dub, right? They know right there, it was like 2:30 when that fight kicked off. You know, kind of now we're down below 2 minutes. Like, obviously you're trying to win at least another fight here, and then you feel great about your chances on this map.
I like how fast D.Va flies in the rush. It looks so ridiculous. Same with how fast she flies too, mind you. And yeah, like you said, just eking out every single possible second. Just getting Toronto Defiant into an OT position as they near third, if they even get second, to be fair. There we go. Onto the high ground. Nice little rotation. Hits the double here on the Kiriko, but didn't end up finding the kill. Still trying to click some heads, but this rush on the point, that is an aggressive push there from Sunjin, but he ends up coming up with 2. What? Okay, he gets 2 kills. He just slid into 4 people. They end up capping the point in the end, but I mean, the cojones on that man.
Crazy play.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just uses the overclock, decides to just slide into everybody. Use the railgun as a shotgun, pretty much. Yeah. And now Riker over to Winston. So I like this call. I think, you know, you kind of stuck on the D.Va for a while there. You got some value out of it at the end, being able to control the high ground. I think, though, ultimately against Zarya, you would not want the D.Va. So I think coming in here for the Winston, this should actually give them a little bit of a compositional advantage.
With easy access to the backline as well. Oh, the Winston just get bullied though, Matt. Yeah, Riker has to retreat. It's a big problem there when the enemy Tracer's also playing defense, as Sugarfree's kind of hanging around his backline. Oh, Rocky does force the recall on Sugarfree. Does he want to go for it? No, he doesn't. Not with the... That's overclock being ripped from Merits. Sunjun almost taken to the skies there and almost taken back to spawn as Opener the first to fall in this fight, but that bubble is good from Riker. Stops that healing coming through onto someone, but they still got a touch, mind you. Surely they don't C9. No, 1 meter and 38 to go, but Sugar Free still coming out with big kills. Sunjun is super low too, not receiving any heals. That's to rely on the passive almost there, and now it's Sugar Free's chance to take over the game. No tank, no problem. Someone's going to be able to come back, but the rush from RuPaul might just end it all. Sugar Free with another kill, make that almost 5. A minute to go for Toronto Defiant, but they still net the payload. 1 minute and 4 to be precise. Time to speeding them out by 30 seconds there. But even with someone going down with close to a grab, Matt, they still managed to make it work with the RuPaul rush.
Yeah, I mean, Riker was so low, they end up losing him. He kind of pushes forward to maybe throw down a bubble there in, like, the choke point. You know, deny maybe some healing or some damage coming on through there, and ends up actually falling. And that's when the payload's, like, basically across the line. And once you lose that tank, someone coming back off the respawn, you're in a pretty good spot to get a mat completion there if you're the Defiant. So, Timeless still with a little bit of a better time, you know, minute 34. I was going to ask you, do you think they play the D.Va? I think you come out on the D.Va, this is going to quickly have, I feel like, someone potentially just go back to spawn and play that Zarya here, but...
Yeah, I mean, that makes the most sense to me, I think. I mean, Timeless is kind of like gambling in a way where you're just like, okay, I'm going to gamble playing the D.Va here, or maybe I just go to the Winston instead, but then you just lose. The house always wins in this case, and the house being Toronto Defiant, where you're like, you just peek your head out the spawn doors, okay, we insta-switch, and then we're going to play the Zarya, or we're going to play D.Va or Winston, or whatever we so choose. I mean, Timeless still with a better time bank here, Matt. Toronto have to make something work in 1 minute and 4 seconds. We'll see if they do want to insta-switch. I can imagine you're right, though. Probably a quick switch to Zarya as soon as they see it. Yeah, instantly someone swaps back straight to Zarya. Boom.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of the advantage of, obviously, you know, seeing the defender comp, and then, you know, the defenders have to just kind of choose, like, okay, like, what is potentially the safest? Like, what can we run here? But Timeless did put up a really good fight on defense, even playing this D.Va against Zarya, so it'll be Toronto trying to take this high ground. Someone just going to uses both of his bubbles here. The other one coming back off a cooldown here in a second.
Yeah, I like that. Disrupt shot comes out, just quickly soak all the damage. Get a nice little bit of ult charge. Well, Sunjun knows there's someone potentially on the flank here. As we can see on the X-ray, there's no one there just at the moment, at least. Reporting a little bit of trouble. Insecurity taking a lot of damage as Sunjun ends up swapping sides with Toronto Defiant. Now he's on the high ground, and Toronto have control of Cafe by the looks of it. Opener going extremely deep. Someone lobbing the right clicks through. No ticks can be afforded here by Timeless, and RuPaul is a good start. A good kill from CJ, and someone gets isolated. And that should just be the defense right there and then. 1 minute and 4 seconds, not enough. Toronto Defiant fairly slow on the rotations, but you have to be with the Zarya comp, but they don't get anything back. Timeless in a very good position here to take a map off Toronto Defiant, where when they did beat in Swiss in round number 7 before, Timeless didn't take a single round. So trying to rewrite history a little bit here with Toronto not getting a single tick.
Yeah, and I don't know if you caught it, but like Baptista, RuPaul playing inside a server room, gets pushed by Rocket and has to use like the immortality field straight away, which is getting pestered from the back. And then once they saw that big cooldown come out, that's when you were like, oh man, they're going deep. They all committed on trying to get that Baptiste out. Huge to being able to kind of keep that Zarya alive. And then right after that, who's the next target? Opener and Rocket right in someone's face. Take out that Zarya. So nice plays from Timeless there on defense. Now just need 1 tick on offense. Not a ton of time to do it still.
Yeah, 1 minute and 34 seconds. Still enough for like 1.5 attempts, depending on how quick you go, of course. Looks like Toronto Defiant, they just want to go to the Orisa. And I think Orisa, Matt, is more of the safe play in this kind of situation. Where, oh, nice little dance party to start off the, start off the map. Or start this round. But I think Orisa in general is the safer bet, because if you are going to the D.Va, they pick Zarya. If you go to Winston, they can pick D.Va. So there's a lot of factors you can kind of eliminate just playing the Orisa. We'll see if Timeless want to end up swapping out here, or if they just run with the Monkey.
Yeah, whatever. You know, Orisa or Sigma probably in this situation.
Right.
Probably like just kind of like the best, you know, overall kind of like you know, you can't really get hard countered, so to speak. Type of tanks is Riker will play the Winston here. He's already through the choke.
Oh, nice.
They want to take control of Cafe. Toronto doesn't even fight for it.
Yeah, they end up kind of getting out-rotated there a little bit, but Riker does end up dropping back down. Let's have a listen to Timeless comms, though. 60 seconds to go.
Turn on TV. Top. I'm living. We need to live. Where's the gold? Oh, live Sanctum. I need I can't. Yeah. You're good. I'm going to 3, 2, 1. I've killed 25. Okay. Chill. Slide. Try low. Shoot Ressa. Oh, I'm bait. That's it. Hero 5. Yeah. Huckabee. 2, 1. So, turn it to P. 3 point. We're going to touch it. I bubble. 3, 2. Try on point. Bubble now. We're still good. Live opener. Nice. Rest of one. Bubble here. 3, 2, let's go. Fuck it, Rocky. You're the best racer in the world, bro.
I'm invisible right now.
The best tracer in the world. I mean,
Let's go.
That was really good, Matt. That was a really good impression. That was really nice.
That sounded like we're playing Black Ops 2 or something there. I was like, oh man. I was like, we're getting into it.
Don't get Matt behind the sticks, please. Timeless take a map off of Toronto Defiant. What people are calling the kind of the kings of North America, are one of the strongest teams out there right now. They end up going down like, oh, we've seen them lose a map. Oh, this is crazy earlier on, right? 2 maps now? Okay. Maybe they're not infallible. That was an incredible push there by Timeless. And yeah, Rocket putting in absolute legwork.
Dude, he's been sick the first 2 maps, even in a map 1 loss. He's been awesome. But I do think you know, if you can get like Toronto, right, like I think they did a really nice job there, Timeless, like playing those Winston based comps, right? Like I think if you can get Toronto off of what seems to be like their comfort, right, like playing that Echo, playing the Tracer, right, I think that's when they start to become a little bit more vulnerable. I think you saw it in the last series as well, right? When you started to like get them just kind of like having to play a lot of different things, right? No, that's when LFO had some success as well.
It's looking real good. No wonder now, Matt, we go on to map number 3. Riker, Sunjun, are they going to stay in or are they going to be departing? Of course, they have been the team that's used their substitutions the most, but coming off a hot streak like this, I mean, especially playing more of these dive comps, feels like they want to stick with what's kind of working, right? With the Winston, with
it's the hard part about Overwatch subs is that, like, you know, 2 players come in, they play awesome, and then you're like, well, you know, they don't really play this game mode, so now they have to come out for the other, you know what I mean? Like, where, look, I believe all of these players, regardless of if you didn't get scrim time on Esperanca, like there's a really good chance you know how to play Esperanca. It's not like you know, it's not like you've never seen the map before, played the map before. Like, I think all these players are talented enough to like be able to do it. Like, hey, if you play Winston Dive on this map, like, and we go into the next map and we play Winston Dive, like there's a good chance you're going to be able to continue to succeed. So I don't know what they're going to do in terms of subs. I also don't know, like, if subs is really kind of like the key to the map, right? Like, I don't know if you had like Icy and Chopper in to play there and they play those same exact comps, it's like, you know, a different result or something like that. I think Timeless just did a really nice job throughout the entire map of making those adjustments constantly to what Toronto is doing.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, hey, keep that momentum going. And Esperanca, you can play Winston, you can play that dive. Like, I don't think they're going to be too shy about that. Nice stats on your screen, of course. Damage dealt. Toronto Defiant dealing a little bit more damage. A little bit more damage overall. Okay. But time is still coming away with the dub. And a high KDA too, which is always quite nice.
Well, Toronto did play Echo. They did play Zen and Baptiste, right?
You expect more damage. from those.
You should be you should be doing more damage if you're playing those characters. I mean that would be
So
more
true.
alarming if they didn't.
Yeah. Only 1,000 more, though. Timeless end up taking that map. Esperanca is up next. Can they continue the run? We'll find out after this.
Enemy in sight.
Our victory is at hand. Ashes to ashes. Die, die, die.
Let's get you back out there. Maintaining connection.
I'm getting readings of a cosmic disturbance in these ruins. Moira, prioritize our people, not your cosmic experiments. That's an order.
Accept my gifts, and all will be yours. Your ally has descended into darkness.
Our group energy is interesting. Very interesting.
Check this out.
Methinks a Cupid I shall play. What are you looking at?
Keep moving forward.
Best of luck to you all.
All right, welcome back. Esperanca up next. Timeless taking down Toronto Defiant on Hollywood. If you've only just joined us, oh my word, listen to the comms at the very end of that map. They were something spectacular. Esperanca, though, Matt, yeah, Toronto, that's their selection as a Timeless band, New Queen Street.
Those comms, what you love to hear, though, right? A lot on the line for these teams. In this series, Timeless, a team who a lot of their players probably want to, make a big name for themselves, an even bigger name for themselves, going up against like a really, one of the holdover teams from Overwatch League, like championship players from the Overwatch League, right? Like this is an opportunity in front of probably the most people they played against, in front of to make a huge statement, right? Not awesome in map number 1, but map number 2 goes a completely different way. I think the consistency over the first 2 maps, so for Timeless, is that Rocket is just going crazy on Tracer, right? And we have seen in Overwatch history, if you have a really good Tracer player, you're going to be in a lot of games. So if you can continue to get that type of play, anything can happen.
Yeah, and I think Timeless got that in spades to Rocket. King in the making, that is for sure. Currently just a Prince. Timeless, sticking with the same roster, by the way. Matt, just different comp. No dive, just Orisa. Riker and Sunjun still in. Toronto Defiant, on the other hand, Doomfist. All right, see someone play Doomfist a little bit earlier on. So against the same kind of composition as well, Matt. Worth keeping in mind. Really like the Doom on Esperanca.
Yeah, but when we saw them play the Doom against the Orisa, I believe that was, when LFO was actually getting things going.
Yeah.
So I think someone in Toronto just needs to be really careful how they're going to play around this. As someone goes in, goes right out. Ooh, they get Sugar Free really low.
Yeah, someone too. Everybody's kind of hurting right
move
now.
with the bot here for a little bit though.
Yeah, they can juggle on this corner. Pretty easy to do so, as you can hide behind that small wall. But it's hard when Riker can just insta-spear you into that small little alcove. And you can't, like, perma-hold the bot either from the bridge. Oh, what a pick, though. Sunjin just way too far up. Not taking cover beneath that archway. As Riker just... that was close. Riker almost ends up going down. Here's the recall just in time. Good little spear onto Sugar Free. And now they shall fall.
Yeah, I think Sunjin had like a dash like queued up and was actually trying to go back towards like the choke. May have just like gotten like hit by a plant, but
They do
Rocket's
not know
actually
what...
still there. He had gotten one.
They are very confused at where CJ is. I think CJ, that was really strange. I think CJ hit Swift Step and it didn't play the audio cue of when he landed because the character he was teleporting to died. I could be wrong. I just didn't hear the Swift Step noise go in. But regardless, he's out now. All good. Swift Step, pretty short cooldown. That was a weird, might have been a frame thing, but there you go. There's the rush coming through. RuPaul's still got his, but they end up playing back. Don't really want to fight the Orisa on that in a 1v1, but Sugar Free and Merit both have pulse bombs. Yeah, double tracer again. All pulse bomb does end up landing too. Riker saved by that sound barrier, plus going gold. Almost back to full HP, mind you, as well, but now Merit has got another pulse bomb to deliver. First class on top of Riker by the looks of it, but doesn't even need it. Ends up just chasing them down with a sound barrier in their favor. Later B almost always wins, and Vega proving it right there and then.
Yeah, I mean, you see how vulnerable the Orisa is once you get that armor off. There's a few times there they're able to get Riker from basically dead all the way back topped up, but just have to use so many of their resources to do it. And then Toronto has a Kitsune Rush, ends up winning it in the end. So pulse bombs for both sides here, and then Sunjin also with that overclock. I think that'll be massive.
Terror Surge available from Riker too. Nice little spear. Yeah, you got to know he had the Meteor Strike with that one. Overclock used. Can they actually find the kills? Doesn't quite land the second shot on Sugar Free as he does fly away. Bot's been stolen though. Not the worst trade in ultimates, but Rocket not finding much with that pulse bomb is rather unfortunate as they back to the mid fight.
They're not far behind here, though, Timeless, right? You know, 24 meters and where the bot is, it's really one fight. In this type of scenario, just a fight that they're taking, like, they're just so split around this pillar, and it's kind of where they're forced to fight. But that's a huge pick.
Massive pick. I heard that spear from a mile away land on someone. Just a little stun indicator as well. It's as good as dead for that. Ideally get a clean wipe here. Oh, pulse bomb thrown out at Sunjin's feet, but just walks right past it. They're still managing to juggle the bot here. Merit going pretty low, no recall. Someone should be back in just a moment's notice, but with Merit dying, that's a late kill. Riker does end up falling as that rush was pulled on top of that high ground, and Sugar Free making good use of that, speeding on forward and chasing open, almost matching the speed against the Lucio. Hard to do, but with the rush and the echo shift, it looked pretty easy for Sugar Free there. They managed to recontrol that bot. Even losing someone at the very start of that fight didn't really phase them whatsoever. Knew how to juggle, and they managed to push Timeless off.
Yeah, they get a few kills there, Timeless, and then they actually kind of like back out. That's another huge pick there from Sunjin at the start. They decide to actually wrap to go and try and take high ground as opposed to like try and continue to move the bot, and then that's when they end up having players fall, right? Trying to push out there towards the high ground, and then Toronto can get back at full strength.
Sugar Free backing off. Don't think they're going to be able to get pulse bomb. I mean, 4% you will, but you can't use it. Now they're back to the mid again. They just need another big kill, but here comes the sound barrier. Sunjin saving that dash to try and get away. Power sliding out to the line of sight is Sugar Free, but still trying to find some heads. Just everybody from Toronto is just surrounding them right now, and Timeless can't pick a direction to all look at once. The boys still pushing the barrier here, Matt, but Toronto have this high ground. They can descend when they choose to, and they're going to refuse to give up that lead, at least for the time being, as Sugar Free tries to find a dive bomb target in the back line. A nice little punch onto the wall, and Opener bites the dust. Someone, oh man, just diving in. There's no chance, especially without your Orisa right next to you there. It's really tough to dislodge the Doomfist and stop him from executing on the back line.
Yeah, as they just kind of push into that back corner. That's also probably why in the fight previously you saw them try and obviously take high ground there, Timeless. And that time they don't have it, and Toronto able to kind of dictate the pace of the fight, just drop down. But looks like you'll have another fight here where both teams just almost basically tied. I mean, Toronto's going to get a little bit of a lead now, as that's going to be someone going in the back line. Rush here for RuPaul.
Meteor Strike. Doomfist gets healed now, of course, in that Meteor Strike, but decides not to go in with it. More than happy just to take the checkpoint here. They might end to go for a small reset up onto the high ground. Looks like it. Oh, Rocket. Not sure where he was appearing from. Maybe from that mega health pack, potentially. To see a lot of sticky bombs on his body, so that's one dead Tracer and one dead Sojourn as well. Spear spin away for the Orisa. Pulse bomb in hand for Merritt, just peering over the battlefield, but Timeless just backing up, going for a reload, and Toronto Defiant getting their bot going.
Yeah, and it feels like they have not been able to punish someone as much as they would have liked, right? I think, you know, when he goes in, you have to really make him pay, and you have to do it fast. Otherwise, you're going to have the Tracer in the back line. You're going to have the Echo there as well.
Oh, patience is a virtue, and Merritt's got a ton of it. That Suzu was nicely timed to stop with that damage coming in, but Merritt just waited it out, hit the pulse, and of course he lands the stick. Easy as you like. 95 meters now and counting. Free little pirouette in the Orisa form there from Sugar Free as they get the bot moving almost at that final corner.
And this is brutal for Timeless. I mean, what do? You have to invest into this. Sound barrier in the other end. Punch there at the start there from someone. He gets quite low. That's how you have to have these fights. It's not going to happen every single time, right? But I mean, you're going to have to punish someone. Like if he's going to get in with a slam or a punch and then live, I mean, it's just going to be enough damage that Sugar Free and Merritt are so good they're going to clean up the rest of the crew. That is a huge fight win for Timeless as well, because they don't have to use anything to do it. Now they have 5 ultimates. Really, you're looking at 5 ultimates to win 2 fights. That's kind of what you're looking at here. That is massive.
God, he wasn't around the corner for like half a second.
Yeah, I think he was stunned. He had to have been stunned. There was the Orisa kind of like assist there, and it looked like just kind of like push back into the wall in that hallway.
That's it, Suzu on someone. Ready to rock the beat though. There's the checkpoint. Oh, right down from the high ground. Hello, someone. All good though. Power up punch available, but someone does use it to punch away from. Maryland's yet another sticky, this time on opener. The rushes for both teams have been used here. A little bit more beneficial for Timeless as they're standing right on top of it, as it's just covering the bot pretty much. But Riker can't use the speed to get away. Not with how fast Toronto Defiant's comp does end up moving as Sugar Free cleans up the rest. 1 minute and 30 seconds to go, Matt, but still just a ginormous lead from Toronto. Almost double their meterage.
Yeah, the brutal death there is losing opener, right? He's got sound barrier. That would have been enough to probably, you know, put them over the line, right? I know you had the double rush going there. You had lots of other ultimates. Now Timeless with a little bit like a huge change of pace in terms of what they want to do, right? Zarya with Cassidy. It's actually going to say maybe earlier, like the Cassidy would have like paid off in like some of these more like medium fights, as this is not really super long range.
Look at the target.
You're going to need the Zarya though to protect in a big way.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, Merritt's definitely got a pulse bomb for him, that's for sure. Although not anymore. Rocket says hello. Gets a little blink smack melee kill there on Merritt. All right, just go for dying on the payload. And is all you need. Charge ult, star on the payload. You've got one more fight here for Toronto Defiant at least. Timeless of about, I don't know, 17 more. It's rough. 50 meters and more to go, Matt. It's there is still in a decent spot with the pulse bomb and the beat, but the dupe could go nasty.
I mean, you got Pulse Bomb, you're going to have Deadeye, double support ultimate. You got some stuff to work with here if you're Timeless. I think if you're Toronto, you're probably looking at someone going in, doing big damage, and then forcing out some of these ultimates. They're going to speed boost this around.
I like this.
Try and see if they can find one. Just buy some space.
OT fast approaches. Sugar Free, there's the dupe on the Zarya. That's a whole lot of protection, a whole lot of free charge too, but they respond in kind with a rush. This duplication can't last longer than this. I'm not sure they're going to be able to kill it, though. That Graviton Surge is almost free. No, Sugarfree dives in a little bit too deep. Can't get the grab off. OT around the corner. That meterage closing in on them. A charged up punch does end up missing. A bubble onto Sunjin to keep him alive. With a pulse bomb from Merit, it's been good thus far. Can it continue? It does, but Opener lands the perfectly timed beat. And a kill onto Sugarfree and onto Vega is going to be good for Timeless. Very much still in this fight as someone takes the skies with this Meteor Strike, but RuPaul contending with Rocket and just takes the crown right on top of his head as Toronto Defiant shut them out as they take map number 3.
A lot closer at the end than probably it should have been, right? Deadeye buys space. They do have, Sugarfree comes in over the top with that duplicate. Lots of pressure there from Toronto. They're not able to find anything with it. They do end up getting double support ultimates, which is massive there towards the end, but still really close. Which makes you think maybe if they were to switch a little bit earlier, maybe we see a little bit something different from Timeless, but switching a little bit towards the end there to that Cassidy with that Zarya, where they cannot do enough in the end to come out on top.
Yeah, the cast was definitely paying dividends for them just immediately out the gate, because then Sugarfree's checked a lot more. It's nice when you can land the rail on the from the Soj onto the Echo, but the consistent damage and making sure Sugarfree's just not getting away with everything. Like, dude was just free farming a lot of the time. That was a close map yet again. I mean, Toronto Defiant right now, Matt, they're really getting pushed their limits, it feels like. The DPS from Timeless putting up big numbers, but also Riker coming in, fresh face on map number 2, really feeling it on the Orisa. The Zarya was working out in terms of like bubble usage against, especially against the Doomfist, who was trying to get to the backline. Much easier to protect Sunjin, but at the very end they just fell. Rocket was so close to clutching that, man, but RuPaul shuts him down.
Well, you also, like, if you're going to be playing the Sojourn, right? Like, if you're Timeless, like, who are you building rails on? You're not going to be doing it on the Doomfist, because then you're just powering up the Doomfist to just go crazy in the back line, right? Where, let's say if they were running Orisa, right? It's a pretty easy target to build rails and nail them onto. So the Cassidy there ends up paying off towards the end. Both these teams so evenly matched. I mean, KD's going to be swayed because somebody's going to win more team fights than the other, right? But in terms of damage dealt and then healing done, I mean, these two teams are neck and neck.
2-1 so far in the series. New Junk City up next. I can't imagine Timeless sub anybody out here. There's just no way. After taking Hollywood and then having a very close game on Esperanca, I think this is the roster you're going to want to run with. Circuit would be an interesting one. Haven't seen that. I feel like I haven't seen that in a hot minute. That's Toronto's pick. But New Junk City, with Sugarfree probably running the Echo again, and then Merit on the Tracer, who's also been kind of sick with the pulse bombs, I will say. Opener almost managed to clutch it out too with that sound barrier, saving the Zarya. Yeah, there's a lot of star power on both teams. It's really coming to shine, honestly. And with New Junk City flipping it up a little bit, there's a lot you can do with him, Matt. And I think what we saw from Toronto Defiant before with the Sigma, that could also rear its head too. A lot of different ways you can play this map.
Yeah, in a Game 5 scenario, though, if you can get there, if you're Timeless, right? Like, probably just going to see a lot of, like, Sigma play from someone. And you feel like you've done a decent job at countering that thus far. So, really, if you're Timeless, you're probably discussing right now, like, hey, we've played them, the 2 maps we lost, first map, maybe just kind of getting in the flow of the game, right? But the last map, you had a really good chance of winning that one. Kind of comes down to the wire, maybe you make a change a little bit earlier. You win this one, you feel like you have a great idea of what they're going to run in Game 5 and how you can go about it.
Yeah, New Junk City. And with the ability to play the Orisa, Monkey, literally anything they want to kind of throw out. I can't imagine we're going to see Zarya again. That's just, I think that's more just like in the moment, like we need to switch to kind of help the DPS out, help the cast, help the Sojourn, etc. Why did... Yeah, I mean, probably just Orisa, if I had to guess. Or, honestly, Monkey. Yeah. And I think if someone ends up running out the Orisa, Riker's definitely going to have a bit more of a hard time. But it does look like we're going to a quick break, though. Just making sure every player is ready in the lobby and give them a small break, too. We'll be right back just after this.
I think it's time to blow this scene, get everybody in the stuff together.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Welcome back. New Junk City is the map selected by Timeless. Pretty close series so far. I mean, map number 1, a little bit more lights out, what you kind of expect from Toronto. Sparks from Timeless from them on their first map, and then Hollywood was theirs, and they ended up swapping out a couple of players going into map number 2, and it looks like we're swapping out some more players going into map number 4. New Junk City means Icy's coming in, and Riker is stepping away.
Yeah, just the one sub here for Timeless, so they'll keep Sunjin in. Is look really good on the Sojourn, so we'll see what you bring Icy in for, right? We saw play some of the Ramatra early on, potentially something we can see them go back to.
Yeah, Ram, Sigma, kind of anything like that. If you want to play a little bit more low and slow, maybe some Orisa. You have to see what flavor they're going to bring to the table. I mean, Rocket too. I mean, Rocket's been standing up to merit. That is a hard thing to achieve, which is really sick for an up-and-coming, a rookie against a champion like that. He's putting on a performance and then some.
Yeah, not many players, like, throughout, the history that we've seen at the top level of, like, Overwatch have been able to do that, right? So, even if you don't win this series, you still feel really great. You're like, hey, how are some of these players going to fare against like a team like Toronto? More than holding their own, I would say. I also wouldn't be surprised, like, if this is something that a match that we see again. Like, whoever loses this series, right? Obviously, Timeless on the brink, needs to win 2 maps straight to take it out. But I could totally see this being like your Sunday rematch, so to speak. It would not shock me at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Timeless is going to be able to make it rather far, regardless of how they do in today's game. Just making sure everybody's ready and loaded up into the lobby. But I hear the music in my ears, so that should mean we're going into the map in just a second. Here we go, loading in New Junk City. Map number 4. Not map 5, Matt. I know. Can't count. Don't do broadcast on maths. I mean, don't do maths or broadcast. Wow, I actually flipped that around.
I mean, you can't speak either. I mean, this is everything. The
English
wheels
isn't my first language, Matt.
Jaws. That's a lie.
No, I speak Kiwi, New Zealand.
If you have to say I speak and then go for like 30 seconds,
have you heard yourself,
guys?
No, I cannot be taking this from you. Where's Mitch? I need to call.
Yeah, but I'm not here like, oh yeah, I speak French on the side. Like I
You barely speak English. We both barely speak English, Matt. But it's working out.
Yeah.
We're here now.
But combined, we do.
Exactly.
Which is what's important.
2 halves make 1, and then exactly 1 whole human. That's good stuff. Speaking of 1 whole human, I don't know where I'm going with that. Icy playing the Orisa versus someone Sigma. So yeah, looks like Toronto want to take this a little bit more slowly with Sig. Don't mind Sig at all on this map, Matt. I really don't. This point is a little bit awkward, especially when you lose your Tracer that early on to Rocket. Capping that point as the Sigma team, you need that first so you can hold forward. But losing your Tracer, you lose all that point presence, and that's an instant reset.
What I love about the way that Rocket is like playing as well is like, sometimes when you're an up-and-coming player going up against like a team of all, known players, top of their game, right? There could be a little bit of like hesitancy or fear. like he gives no, you know the word I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
and he's on the point.
Yeah,
and he is, you know, the word that you used a few times on the broadcast.
Okay,
like
that was
he does
once,
not
buddy.
give. He does not give at all. Where he is like, you know what? I'll take this 1v1 on the point. Why not? And feels so confident that he's going to be able to come out on top.
Yeah, it's almost like he's hit the names right on the enemy team. Very much feels like that, especially dueling Merit. So it's kind of contending with him right now, and this is what the Tracers are going to be doing, at least for the majority of this. Both forcing the recall too. Rocket doesn't want any of that smoke for the time being, as Merit does take control of the point, or at least tries to. Kiriko duplication from Sugar Free. This could be nasty, actually. Nice little boof onto Icy, forcing him away from the rest of his supports. Opa and CJ, not long for this world, I'd imagine. He just managed to get out with the help of that Suzu, but there's the flip from Toronto.
Yeah, but still, you get to 95% here for Timeless. Like, really good opening start. They're forced to use some ultimates. You come back now. What, Flashpoint, you get 2-3 fights, right? You know, to get the point back. Like, you think even if you lose this one, you invest some ultimates, you still have at least one more maybe after, but Rocket takes some shots from Sugar Free directly above. You're going to have plays at all 5 ultimates. It's going to be CJ kicking things off there, using the Kitsune Rush.
Oh, what a snipe onto Merit.
Oh, not even saw him.
Not having the best of rounds so far. Timeless with the flip. There's the flux. There's the sandbar from both sides as well. Where's it going to land? Sojourn trying to find Sugar Free, and eventually Icy 180s and just skewers him with his spear. I mean, this is Timeless taking this point for sure. 63 to 99. Toronto Defiant just falling over. Rocket and Icy, to be fair too, just having such a good opening to this map. Oh, nice kill.
Yeah, gets Merit on the exit there as well. So we'll see the next point pop up on board with Rocket of kind of like how what the route is they want to take it. So what they're gonna Toronto Defiant probably like speed in, maybe try and take some of this high ground, fight on the point. You do have the Terror Search here for Icy. See, like, used in multiple different fashions, like offensively or defensively. I think right now you're trying to, like, maybe, like, they use the rush. You use it while in the rush. It, like, gets a Suzu out, does some damage. Like, then you probably are looking for follow-up from the rest of the team.
There's Flashpoint unlocking. Icy playing Doorkeeper right now, but doesn't want any of that. As the rusher... Oh my god, I thought I killed somebody then. Merit pancaking that one on the floor, and Icy a little bit vulnerable to the damage, the stickies, the beams, everything that Sugar Free's got to throw at him. There's the cap for Toronto Defiant now. Oh, good stickies. God, Sugar Free's tracking sometimes is just a thing to behold. Rocket is still just kind of demolished.
Still here.
How is he still here? He's got a recall advantage for Merit here. It's just a 1v2. Merit does end up winning that one out with the help of Vega.
Damn, bro.
Man, Rocket's nuts.
That's so cringe, dude. You should have let him do a 1v1 on the point. I can't believe Vega came back.
The honorable 1v1.
No, I mean, just so crazy that he's even able to live so long. Picks up 2 and then like makes it like a 1v2 on the point, but not able to come out on top. But here's an opportunity, right? Overclock. Although, I mean, look at how much percentage Toronto's already earned here, Jack. 60%. I mean, you win this fight. It's probably, this point's done.
Yeah, with CJ already dead, they're in big trouble at Timeless. Nice sandbar, trying to keep Icy in the fight, and on the point 2 to contest. Duplication for Sugar Free was just too much, though. Too much pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, but it is all Toronto that are glistening right now. Is Timeless going to have to back off and reset, Matt. This is a point for Toronto.
Yeah, this is you just got to give this up, right? I mean, no shot of fighting that one there towards the end. So starts off with Sugar Free doing some damage from the high ground, dropping down, using a duplicate, getting a pick on the Tracer, and then things really just kind of fall apart. So Icy now over to the Sigma. They were having, like, maybe not like saying having, like keeping him alive was like a difficult thing, but he was just taking so much damage there. In a lot of those fights, it was difficult to get into position to really make an impact. So Sigma, a little bit more sturdy, can kind of do, control the high ground, put some damage down at range, and also be a little bit more self-sufficient in terms of keeping himself alive.
Got a really nice tool as well against the enemy Sigma, using that accretion. Although you can do the same thing with the spear, to be fair, but the poke battle. Rocket. Nice opening kill onto Vega. I mean, someone doesn't have anything in this fight, really, and they're going to make sure he knows it too. A full chase out. I think you get another one. Yeah, it doesn't like RuPaul even attempt to try and swift step there. Just wanted to go for a reset. A Rocket just on fire currently.
I mean, yeah, it's just kind of silly. Like, you could just see from his POV that, like, some players, like, they make it look easy at times. Like, he is just, you know, in some of these fights, like, making it look so easy as comes up with a big stick there onto Vega. Vega had a sound barrier there at the opening, and Toronto obviously probably knew they had a little bit of a sound barrier advantage. Probably could have even used it early on. So that pick was massive.
Pulse bomb. Oh, Merit is trying to jiggle peek there, away from that railgun. The opener already finds the straight kill onto Sugarfree. Must have been a railgun or something. Suzu, yeah. Oh, just a swift step. No Suzu used there, just swift step to the sides. Drop that pulse bomb. Rock on the high ground. Sunjun in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get healed up. His opener jumps in the way. Oh, Hugo's having a ball as well. I mean, there's just no way Rocket doesn't get this kill.
He only usually gets excited for Dragon Blades, but I mean...
He's getting excited for Rocket, and so am I. You step in Rocket's domain, you are going to get slaughtered. Another point to Timeless. They're on... we're about to go to a map number 5, Matt, if they can take this next one.
Yeah, and that is one where Merit lands a big pulse bomb, right? CJ, whether it's the Suzu or the Swift Step, able to kind of deny the pulse bomb from going off. And now Timeless, they set themselves up perfectly here, Jack, right? You win these first fights in a flashpoint, you can get like 50% like right away. And they have just about everything to work with to win this fight.
Duplication could be the tool that they need. There's a dupe on the Tracer. I think there's nothing better right now than having double Tracers. Unless you're copying one of the tanks, that can provide a lot of sustain. Oh, nice dodge of the rock there by Sugarfree. Pulse bomb lobbed. Went a little bit wide, but might be able to earn himself another one. Not quite. Only a couple of seconds left. As soon as that fades away, they end up pulling the rush. Time is trying to shift the course now. They still have Force ults in their ult bank as well. Vega lays down the sound barrier, and a later one from Opener as they just continue to push forward. Icy responds in kind with a flux. There's also a railgun going off too. Sugarfree clipped wings out of there. Timeless trying to gain control of this fight. Merit is so low, so can't see himself back into this one. Couldn't receive any heals as all the heals were just getting pumped into someone in the front line, and Timeless end up taking control of that point.
Massive, and everybody pretty much just dumps everything into that fight, and that's gonna have someone making a switch, right? Doesn't want to do this Sigma head-to-head anymore. This is like, we're gonna be playing hyper aggressive, right? Probably making a play for Sunjun, and you're gonna be running here with this Winston Echo, constantly trying to make a play for that back line, but Rocket with a pulse bomb yet again.
I mean, Rocket versus Merit right now, who can get the better stick? This could be a decider round as well, or a decider fight. Rocket, gets in the back line, doesn't manage to find anything. Merit's still patiently holding on to his. Doesn't find an avenue of entrance just yet as the rush comes out from RuPaul. Pushing them forward, there's the stick, goes wide again. Doesn't matter though, that beam going through the suck there from the Sigma, and that will be the flip.
Yeah, they were playing for that Kitsune rush there, letting RuPaul just kind of like farm that up. And then you just kind of, there's really nothing they can do at that point. So, okay, so now we're starting to get our first like real kind of like counter, you know, pick swapping here. So Icy looks like he will be coming out on Ramatra. So this will be good against the Winston and the Echo. I know a little bit of the slow dragging these players, I know, back down to earth can also be really strong if they get control or fight on the point.
Yeah, you really only need one fight here, Matt. So it's going to be a tough one, especially when Sugarfree dupes the Tracer. Oh, and Sunjun's already dead. Okay, reset for Timeless, quick, sharp. Go for the reset. Don't want to mess around. You don't want any of this smoke. Just get out of here. Go for one more, but people dying super late, and yeah, Toronto Defiant know it too. Staggering Icy to his last breath as Toronto guarantee themselves this point as we're going on to map point now. 2-2 on New Junk City.
Yeah, I mean, now Ice is going to switch over and play the Queen. So a lot of changes here coming out here for Timeless. As,
good skin.
Look, I mean, the Queen, yeah, I mean, the phenomenal skin. But the Queen, pretty decent against, like, Winston. You know, you could have even played Diva here, right?
Right.
Even, like, a Diva pick would have been interesting. So, this, though, like, they're going to have to punish someone, right? He's got Primal, so going to be very difficult to punish here.
Yeah, those knives can really halt the monkey's progress, especially if you knife them as they're jumping in. It'll be pretty tough. There's the rush as soon as someone tries to get into that fight. Actually pops the Primal Rage. Doesn't want anything to do with it, of course. He just pops it to survive. Ult trade there, rush for Primal. You take that any day of the week, honestly, if you're Toronto Defiant. They got a rush of their own, but they did end up losing the point there, man.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very worth trade if you're Toronto, right? He jumps in, then they end up using the rush, and that's going to be a kill. Cross-map RuPaul on a rocket. That's huge.
Icy boot down to the low ground too. Soundbar only hits Opener and Icy, and now they're in trouble. That rush and Soundbar, that's a guaranteed fight win, you got to imagine. Toronto still lose RuPaul, shouldn't matter though, but the flip is here. 41% Toronto Defiant here have given them they've given themselves a little bit of room to work with, even if they lose the point. A TP back from RuPaul shouldn't be too far away, but Timeless setting themselves up for success in this next fight. 40% is a hell of a percentage bank.
Yeah, it gives them like a, if you win this next fight, obviously you're going to have a massive lead, but Toronto should end up taking the lead here very shortly. Rocky getting on the point just to contest, probably just dragging down Merit. Try and fight this. It looks like just kind of like a mirror setup on both sides in terms of where these players want to position.
Trying to force out Merit's recall here. Merit, has to back out. Actually gets forced there. So now you have to commit someone else, and it is Vega. Shout coming in for Sugar Free. He's the queen now, trying to run up Icy. Might get a free rampage. He's careful too. Knife does end up landing, but Sugar Free's got the ejector button there. Echo manages to get out alive, but someone not quite so lucky. Rocket with a pulse bomb in hand. Toronto Defiant just want to get this fight to 99% and then some if they can. Looks like they're going to be able to do so. 98, close enough.
I mean, yeah, close enough that it's going to be one fight territory, as Timeless did a really nice job disengaging from that when Sugar Free was getting really aggressive going on in, and you're able to find that kill onto someone. This next fight is probably what determines the map. I mean, a huge fight here is it looks like Toronto wants to go low.
Yeah, different approach here from Toronto Defiant, Matt. You're not wrong. Low ground, now up to the high ground. They spotted Rocket out. Nice couple of right clicks. Can Merit chase up this kill? Waiting for maybe Rocket to recall there, but no, Merit ends up backing off. Doesn't want to go down either. Rocket has got the pulse bomb, of course. Here's the rush on the point. OT approaching as Toronto Defiant. They got a couple of ultimates, but they just need to survive. A rampage from Icy could end it all, but Toronto Defiant just need to continue to touch. Icy going pretty low, but the Zeus are there to save him, but Sugar Free's already the first one to go down. A rampage onto 3, and there's nothing Toronto Defiant can do. A 3-man Soundbar is going to be all they can really hope for, as Timeless should just have the better beat. A Primal Rage to get back to the point to cause OT to tick up once again, but that is it. Timeless take us to a map number 5.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the Suzu was used a little bit earlier there, because I believe RuPaul is one of the players actually hit by the Rampage, and he cleanses himself. So I don't know if he actually like Swift Step, or maybe he Suzus, but everybody else just like is not in line of sight or something, not able to do so. But man, that is a huge map win there for Timeless, as we are going to get a game 5. And I mean, look, if you're Timeless, right? You force this game 5. They looked pretty good in this Sigma head-to-head in this map, right? So a map like Circuit Royale, you probably see Toronto pick that because Sigma, right? You could play like Merit on the Widow, like 6 stuff if you wanted to. You think you're still, I mean, you're very, very much alive in this if you're Timeless, is they have played great.
They are punching up right now, but they are landing like almost knockout blows. Like, Toronto being this far deep into the series, like, I don't think anybody really expected them to be here, but this is Timeless really just showing up huge right now. Even with all the subs coming in and out, they've got the tools to, picklock the door that Toronto Defiant are trying to force shut. Like, this is a really tough spot to be in if you're Toronto Defiant too, because like you said, I think the Sigma head-to-head is a lot closer than it might seem, and Circuit, you have to run the Sigma, bro. Like, there's not really another choice, but this is a complete comp differential here. Not differential, sorry. It's a complete comp difference when you jump over to this map, because it's about long-range hit scan, and it's about the slow poke style of Sig.
There's also something to be said, and I love, to hear just like Johnny and, Jake's takes on this of like, if you don't play like a competitive game, right? Like we talked about how Toronto just kind of like blew out everybody, whatever.
Right.
When you don't play like a game that's like close or competitive, like I'm sure they obviously have scrims that go back and forth, right? Like, but it's not the same as like a, you know, a game scenario. Like, you know, having one that starts to get a little bit closer is definitely like a wake-up call that a lot of people probably not like you're just not expecting at the moment, right? So there's something about kind of like Timeless playing up to the competition, and then also Toronto, like this is their first time as a team, as a unit, dealing with some level of adversity, right? You lose a map to LFO, but then series was never really like kind of in doubt. And then after that, you directly go into another series that also you're going to find some adversity in. So everything is smooth sailing, right? When you're dying like 3 times in group play, right?
Right.
You know, anybody can win in those types of scenarios. It's like when you get these really close games and really big moments, like, okay, now you need to kind of like you know, pick things up, pull it together.
It's crunch time. It's quite literally crunch time. Map number 5. I think they expected to be there, and yeah, maybe that is playing on the mental a little bit, but still champs on the roster, so you're expecting that mental not to be frayed in any way. Toronto Defiant and Timeless going to Circuit as our last map. And Circuit, like you said before, it's going to be Sigma. I want to see a little bit of Widowmaker. I would like to see Merit jump onto some crazy long-range hit scan, but we are going to jump to a quick break, just making sure every player is ready in the lobby. Give them a small breather as well. We definitely need it. Go get yourself some water, a snack, whatever you need. Timeless Toronto, map 5 after this.
Enemy in sight.
Our victory is at hand. Ashes to ashes. Die, die, die.
Let's get you back out there. Maintaining connection.
I'm getting readings of a cosmic disturbance in these ruins. Moira, prioritize our people, not your cosmic experiments. That's an order.
Accept my gifts, and all will be yours. Your ally has descended into darkness.
Our group energy is interesting. Very interesting.
Check this out.
Methinks a Cupid I shall play. What are you looking at?
Keep moving forward.
Best of luck to you all.
We're going all the way. Map number 5 on the cards. Toronto Defiant and Timeless taking us all the way. Back and forth. One team takes one team takes the other. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, a Toronto Defiant and a map 5, they were dying like 3 times in group stages and stuff, Matt. But like, this is insane. Timeless just really showing how much tenacity they've got.
Yeah, it was like, oh, can this team play up to this level? Can they contend? I think we know, regardless of outcome, 100% they can, as Chopper will come back into the game. So we saw Chopper in map 1. Now we'll get Chopper back in here in game 5.
Poke comps, I'd imagine. Icy staying in makes a whole lot of sense. Don't want Riker, don't want that dive. Small sub for Timeless. We'll take it, we'll take it. Sunjin, I'm kind of surprised, although you can play a lot of Sojin here, so we'll see what Timeless end up wanting to run. It's probably going to be slow, low and slow, but hey, you never know. You never know. If you're going this far, especially if you're Toronto Defiant, maybe you haven't prepped anything too crazy here. We'll see if Timeless can push them off kilter.
Well, this is a Toronto Defiant map pick, right? So you'd fully expect them to have something game planned here. But maybe they felt like coming into this is like, hey, our fallback, our default is going to be like this Sigma look, right? And yeah, we feel pretty good that nobody's going to, and we may end up losing some Orisa matchups or like Winston, whatever, right? But in the Sigma, I don't think there's a chance we lose, where that has not been the case throughout this series, where Timeless has, matched them in that type of look.
Whoop. Yeah. I mean, there's something to say as well for the point you made a little bit earlier on about, picking maps that aren't necessarily picked a whole lot now. Like, the last, I feel like it's been ages since we've seen a circuit game. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't see many game 5s, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's been a lot of 3-0s. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
All right, even smaller sub. Change.
So Rocket comes out here for Chopper. Okay,
Chopper
Sunjin stays in. Look, Rocket's been tremendous throughout the series, right?
Yeah.
I think player of the match, even in a loss, I think you could still make a real good argument. Hey, Rocket's been the player in the server. But maybe you don't want to play Tracer here. That is like a potential thing. We'll see.
Yeah, Tracer's really tough to make work, especially on first point. So not too much of a surprise not playing the Tracer, but yeah. Dude's on a tear. We'll see what time has got in store for us as we load into sunny Circuit Royale. I wonder what kind of hit scan we're going to see, because we've seen a little bit of Ashe too. I think Ashe has been pretty decent in terms of meta picks, but Widowmaker has always been the go-to. And it looks like, at least on the defense here, Merit on Widowmaker, no shocks, Sugar-Free, Genji, another very, very good hero for himself. And I like the greed with the Zen, although you could argue it's not greed on circuit, but Lucio is just still super strong. And it looks like Timeless kind of want to do the same thing here, Matt. We'll see what Opener wants to play, if he wants to play the Zen or Lucio.
Yeah, Genji is historically been really good on this map, right? Being able to contest high grounds, being able to close gaps. So Sunjin goes over, fires a shot as looks like we will get a Widow head-to-head.
Oh, yeah.
No real differences outside of Opener playing the break, so a little bit more of a defensive setup. Wants to protect CJ and protects Sunjin from Sugar-Free coming in on the Genji. So that should deter Sugar-Free from going on in. You see, that's an Immortality field already used there from the Defiant.
Timeless end up losing Opener though, which is not good. Oh my! Wow, that was a really quick. Sugar-Free did not expect Sunjin to go for that repeat.
No, and it's over the shoulder with a kinetic grasp, it looked like, as well, as right when the deflect runs out, the shot connects. So even though you lose a few players early here for Timeless, this shouldn't move the payload.
Yeah, the honest Opener, and you're so close to spawn anyway. You're losing out on a lot of damage not having the Zen, plus the Discord on the Sig is just so frustrating to deal with. Nice little short. Oh no! Mary just killed RuPaul! Oh, Chopper with a perfect deflect! Oh, that is a team kill if I ever did see one. I mean, that's point. There is no... Oh, someone's not getting a team dinner after this.
You love to see it if you're a Timeless, and I mean, that is a sick play.
That's rough. I mean, by someone I mean Merit,
that's gonna be... Ooh, someone, I mean, they just burn him down, right? They just invest everything there.
Goodbye. That's rough.
That is huge.
Merit now get invited to team dinner.
Those are two fights, right? the first fight, Toronto, they end up getting first blood, right? They get opener. And then it's just a 6-shot from Sunjun, and then the next one, Merit going to land the shot gets deflected into RuPaul, and that's the only 2 fights in first point.
Yep, that's done.
I mean, you didn't even really have to do that much for Timeless, right? I mean,
yeah, you literally did that. You hit reflect, like that was it. You hit reflect and won the point. That is ridiculous.
And a widow shot and a deflect, pretty much was what one did have taken it there.
Confidence shocked a little bit if you're Toronto Defiant, you'd imagine. Flux. Oh, that rock dodged out perfectly. Nice follow-up, too. You see Sugar Free taken to the skies. Vega just cleaning up. That is a late rally. Another deflect kill from Chopper, though. You're feeling pretty good. But, yeah, Vega is still on a tear. I mean, the damage difference there from the Zen and the Brig really showing up. That was a very late rally from opener.
I mean, someone with just a sick play, though, right? I mean, the Flux dodging the accretion, then landing an accretion of his own. I mean, just, you know, making it look easy there on Sigma. But
oh, nice sights. Oh, that was cheeky.
No one can hide.
All right, later walls really like it.
Merit will pop his as well.
Just waiting for the grapple shots, yeah, and seeing the Venomite. Don't want to get caught out by that. Blade for Sugar Free, dashes straight to the back line. Oh, nice movement. Does force out the lamp and isolates Icy too. Those all the healers were cowering in front of Sugar Free. All right, now here's where the defense will make their claim. 3 minutes to go now.
Yeah, I mean, you have Transcendence here, so you have it for either the Blade or the Flux, right? And then you also have the Amp Matrix, so see how they decide to layer these. Is Chopper's got to try and get in position, maybe get a Blade off. I think it's probably, I mean, it's easier to probably maybe get the Flux and then, you know, get one of those ultimates out and then Blade on the land, but we'll see. Someone gets quite low.
Lamp available. Lamp very nicely placed too, right on the edge. Making sure it can't get insta-destroyed either.
Yep, it actually lets Timeless get back up into this position, though, right? Like, they would not have been able to get back here. There was a high ground. Oh, Sugar Free in the back line.
Yeah, he pretty much just dashed through him, jumped over him kind of deal.
Insta-kill.
Yeah. Nice little kill, though, from Chopper. Trying to settle the score. Blade coming out from Chopper. He's looking to the skies. Nice rock onto someone. Icy just knocks him straight out of the skies, cancels the Flux. And Toronto Defiant wondering what just happened.
Yeah, Sunjun off the spawn, right? He ends up falling at the hands of Sugar Free, but then gets a respawn and actually from the spawn, actually able to just shoot someone in the back. Are you going to be able to contest?
He got touched, but
Toronto.
Transcendence from Vega is going to have to be the thing that sticks him on here. And the problem is, Opener's got the rally. That overhealth is building for everybody. Sugar Free's close to the blade, but she gets sniped by Sunjun through the window. I mean, there's no shot you take this point back. I mean, someone's just getting bullied. There you go. No need to call the cyber police. And that will be point B.
Yeah, and with how volatile we see Circuit, right? Like, anything here feels awesome if you're Timeless, right? You kind of get it around that final corner. I think, like, getting it around that corner and then getting it down that home stretch, like, even if it's not a full map completion, getting it close is a huge win, feels like, where you have Inforesight here, but probably just kind of counter each other, right? You know, if Merit pops his, Sunjun will pop his as well.
Exactly that. I love seeing the Widow head-to-heads. Yeah, so insta counter from the sights. Just kind of baiting the other Widow to do so. Decent positioning, though, from Toronto Defiant. Quick deflect, just Chopper ends up going down. Icy made the cross as well, Matt, and he is alone currently. Still in the LOS, or would have been a moment ago. Should be an easy kill. As Opener looked like they were trying to save Private CJ. Oh my word. What a shot from Merit.
That is a filthy shot.
All right, 1 minute and 44
on the way up, just nails it.
I love it.
But, so, a minute 44 to go here, right? What, you have Flux inside here, no support ultimate. Like, when Sugar Free blades, it's not like, you know, the other side for Toronto, right? They have that transcendence. I mean, you can rally, but like also there's still a threat of death here as someone plays quite close to the door here, tries to put some pressure and split them from even getting in.
Goodbye, nice headshot.
Huge headshot.
Dragon Blade pulled from Sugar Free. I mean, Blade isn't what it used to be, I'll tell you that right now. Okay, do not die to the Widow challenge. We've already got 1 kill in the Sigma. Love his positioning for RuPaul too, but still has to back off. Doesn't want to get checked there by Sunjin.
And how do you win this if you're timeless, right? I mean, you're looking at, obviously, a Widow shot kind of, you know, wins you a point, so to speak, at times, right? But other than that, I mean, you can have a Blade you can send up there, right, to the high ground, as they are getting some payload progress at the moment. Shot there, that's going to be deflect out from Sugar Free.
Flux isn't really going to do all too much apart from ascend Icy to high ground, but Icy is super low. Just constantly getting bullied out, Matt. Again, a lot of it's to do with the Zen, the Discord is just so strong. With 20 seconds to go, the Flux, it doesn't even need to drop him back down. Sunjin just dies on the upward draft. Icy falls. I mean, this rally is just way too late here. 15 seconds. And Timeless, I think this is where their offense is going to end. There is the Blade. Oh my god, someone just punches his lights clean out. Doomfist, but against the Sigma and against all the damage, there's no chance. Toronto Defiant, on what was quite of a shaky first couple of points there, they do manage to hold just on that last final stretch. Although, being Circuit Royale, really can go anyone's way. It's a very fickle map to finish.
They were also never able to punish the Zen, right? Like, Vega was able to kind of sit in the back and, you know, just put down some damage, you know, get the Discord orbs, right? They were never able to kind of like put loads of pressure on that back line, maybe get like a immortality field out early, right? It felt like pretty comfortable there from Toronto Defiant. I think if you were looking at positives from Timeless, right? You did get the payload like around that second corner, you know, not really deep down that hallway, but you did get it, you know, into the hallway, right? So could be pretty difficult to do, you know, get that far. See what Toronto cooks here on offense, as Timeless will be on D. It looks like right now, potentially a pretty similar comp. Don't know if you'll see the Lucio on defense.
Yeah,
they'll actually run the Lucio here. It looks like
hopping around. Looks like they're still deciding what they want to run.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see like Open is not a Zen player traditionally. More of a Lucio Brig, kind of like classic main support kind of picks. Although Brig was kind of picked up by everybody, to be fair. Looks like it's going to be Lucio. Okay. Yeah. Brig not finding all too much on the offense, they feel like. So just the Lucio, just having the ability to kite is really nice, but looks like Toronto Defiant going to kind of run the same thing in terms of Lucio, but it's going to be a Ram instead. So they're very willing to just run into Timeless right now, completely shift this one up.
Yeah, and they're not going to run that Widow as well, as Chopper gets that first pick. So,
nice kill.
Toronto wants to run, nice railgun shot. They want to run like a pretty like brawly, like mid-range style of comp, right? Where you get kind of someone in the mix brawling out, put a lot of pressure onto Icy.
Yeah, extremely unconventional, Matt, to say the very least. Lamp's already been used, and yeah, the brawl is just so good against Sig. Oh my god, just got clotheslined. Easy kill on the Genji as well. Yeah, the brawl into the Sigma. If you're playing that far up and Icy switching over, it's like, okay, you're playing brawl, we play brawl too. Like, we have the Lucio player, so we might as well. This is actually working in their favor somewhat because they were losing out versus the Zen, especially on that third point. So you're playing Lucio with a Ram, we'll play Lucio with Ram. That's fine by us. And no more Widows, Matt, either. Just Sojin versus Sojin. So.
Yeah, it's going to somewhat like reset the ultimate, you know, of Icy and Sojin with the switches, but still, I think you would have been a little bit of a disadvantage, right? Playing that Widow, playing that Sigma here, where you can put your Ramatra toe-to-toe against somebody.
Sugar Free just trying to build up that Blade as quick as possible. It's actually Merit that's closer to ultimate. 20% towards that overclock. Oh, Icy almost got one shot through that window. I mean, I don't think Icy's long for this world, especially at this angle that Merit's got. So low. Sound barrier from Open is just a little too late. Got to come up with some big kills now. Merit has got the perfect line of sight onto the back line, so they end up scattering. Still a deflection available for Chopper. There's still some trades kills coming in as Chopper picks up Sugar Free. No more deflect as Merit is just taking that into full effect as he basically runs into them, but the blade has been pulled. 80 HP, has to go for the back line. Lands one, slash lands another one, gets the reset, but Merit is there to find the kill eventually. A nice little Lucio play there from Opener, jumping over the head of Merit, boops him back, and somehow Timeless manages to survive and hold the point.
And the respawn advantage is so good for Timeless, right? Yeah, you just have players flooding on in. It seemed like Opener and Chopper are able to live forever. Here's a huge fight, though. Someone with the Annihilation and then Sugar Free getting close to a blade here. If you can withhold this, we're down to a minute.
It's almost a surely they can't do it, but Sunjin does have that railgun in 5%. That overclock could lead to a win if he just snipes someone out. Snipes RuPaul out, snipes Sugar Free as he's sailing through the air, right? Anything's possible with an overclock, that is for sure. Looks like they're going to try and make their push in.
Advantage here for Timeless.
Sunjin's going to pop it, has to get back. Power slides away, blade has been pulled. Annihilation on the point, but where are the kills? There's one onto Icy. Sunjin tries to make it even though as the beat comes through, dives into the backline, but the Annihilation just too strong, even against that sound barrier. Just ticks everybody, their health bars, that overhealth just fading away in almost an instant as Toronto Defiant cap the point. 3 minutes to go now as they ascent onto the hill.
Yeah, as you just kind of dump some ultimates in there for Timeless, get Toronto to just invest as well as you hold them to 20 or so seconds. So I think what you're talking about for Timeless here is like, can we win 2 fights? 2 fights gets you to about what, probably like 40 seconds, 30 seconds or so on the clock, going towards this high ground. And then if you lose there, like let's call it OT, they have a minute or so there at the end. That's where you feel pretty good if you're Timeless.
Oh, but look how fast he's punching. Doesn't matter though.
Oh my god.
Doesn't matter. That window juice used to full effect. Sound barrier invested from Toronto Defiant. Not confident in their ability to finish this fight. CJ ends up taking care of Merit. They're still getting that payload going. Even Sunjin coming back at the very end there to get the final touch. Timeless, sorry. They're really pushing Toronto to their limits. They didn't really feel confident enough to not use the beat, and they're going to now run into this Chopper blade.
Yeah, that's what you need to do here, Timeless. You're like, okay, we got a lot of ultimates out. We need to make sure we get a contest here and then get Chopper back with this blade. Put him in position, but a lot of damage comes out early.
That Disruptor shot was
a lot of this up.
Massive from Merit. Disruptor shot is just the cherry on top as he just takes the high ground with the overclock. That looks so winnable there for Timeless, Matt. You're right. They just run over them. They had to just walk through all of that damage. They couldn't heal it up quick enough, and especially with the DPS passive as well, so much less heals for the team. And Toronto Defiant, clearly extremely mad in how point A and B went for them. They are determined to make it sting for Timeless as they move on to point 3.
Yeah, I mean, huge advantage here because now Sugar Free has a blade, right? So blades here for both sides, no sound barriers available, and someone, though, has that Annihilation, right? So if Chopper goes in, tries to make a play, you can have someone actually just pop that Annihilation, just get all that ticking down on the Genji. Be difficult to keep Chopper up.
Oh, Sugar Free already dead, though.
All right, Matt, you needed something like that.
Oh, yeah. You need to just reset the tempo, right? But someone determined to just force his way in there. Okay. Annihilation should run out in just a moment, but look who they've isolated. It's Icy on the sidelines, and this overclock from Sunjin or the Chopper Blade's going to have to come out ASAP. They cannot lose too much ground here, Matt, but it's just almost an inevitability that they're going to do so. Timeless resetting, 4 ults in the bank as Toronto Defiant and nearing that final corner.
Yeah, you absolutely couldn't invest into that fight. You would have been in that horrible scenario. Sound barrier connects with just both.
Open is dead! Open is dead! Open dies! Sound barrier out! It didn't mean anything! A sound barrier from Toronto Defiant as they push on forward. Icy ends up falling over. Toronto Defiant just making this a speed run as Timeless. They're going to be able to pull the blade, sure, but where's the damage? Where's the follow-up? There's nothing left in the tank. What is 0.01 meters and Toronto Defiant? They take us all the way to a map number 5 and they finish it out. Timeless with a valiant effort on defense with nothing in the comparison to the Kings. Toronto Defiant, my word, they made that personal at the very end. Timeless making the series close overall, though.
Yeah, I mean, an incredibly back and forth series between these two teams. I think just some timely kills, right? Being able to get those first bloods. I think probably Timeless's best shot was contesting that second point with the blade, but just so much damage on the way in. That disruptor shot, like in the choke, some of the Sigma damage, and they're just so weak they can't exactly like pop that blade and just rush on in. They have to kind of hesitate for a second there, and things just kind of spiral. I mean, you win that fight or keep it close if you're Timeless, right? You're below a minute for Toronto to have to take that checkpoint. They probably have to use it's a completely different game, right? I mean, taking that there, giving themselves 3 minutes to get around that corner, I mean, that's the game.
It's rough. Like, someone pulling that annihilation there and isolating Icy from the rest of the team, like, that is so heartbreaking. Like, the DPS was struggling to get much done. They didn't want to pop ults because they thought they could maybe get a refight, they could get another fight, but just slowly but surely the pieces just fell from their tower. Like, it was rough at the very end, and they just couldn't get a better fight. Like, it was just all Toronto Defiant. Very much felt like an experience game there at the very end where they just knew how to play it and they knew when to pull their ults. And yeah, someone at the very end, I think
we see this series again.
For sure.
I mean, with the way that we just saw Timeless play, like, I would not be surprised if we turn around on, you know, Sunday and see this kind of in a rematch. I mean, Timeless is going to be difficult to beat in the loser bracket.
100%. We're going to jump to the desk, though. They're going to break down that series and then some and round out the day for us. Guys, take it away.
Jack, thank you very much. That was some crazy things that we saw. That was so good. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been told that in Toronto Defiant, they were sort of undefeatable coming into the main stage. And, I mean, they lost their first map. And then Timeless today almost beat Toronto Defiant. Man, the stuff that Timeless pulled were insane.
I do think Toronto is an incredibly good team. I think they are the favorites, but I don't think you can call them unbeatable with the competition we're seeing in the North American region. I really feel like, having looked at the tournament so far, it feels like this top 5, top 6, they're more closer than I realized. Even Pip looking impressive in the lower bracket. So for me, anybody can come away with the win here, and Timeless showing that they are a very, very serious contender. Love some of the coaching decisions, using a big roster on Timeless to great effect here. I mean, and I've got to talk about Rocket. This guy was an absolute monster. Merit on the Sojourn, to go toe-to-toe with Merit time and time again. And honestly, in the Tracer duel, I feel like Rocket kind of had the edge this series. I don't know about you guys. That's how I felt. So for me, very, very impressive stuff to put on the resume. You would have loved to make it a win, though. As much as we can give Timeless the credit, the real winners here, it is the Toronto Defiant. They do come away.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the maybe points you'd argue for Toronto Defiant. You know, they are a favorite. They got to pick all these players, of course, in the offseason. That maybe their Tracer game is not up to par. You got Sugarfree, who's this flex player who can specialize on all these different heroes, right? But when you're playing against some of these incredible Tracer players in OWCS, you know, you need to be on point. You need to be able to win these Tracer duels reliably, right? And Rocket really gave Timeless the edge many cases throughout the series. They were just competitive in it. You could see, we're listening to the communication on Hollywood when they won Hollywood. I mean, they were fired up. They were gassed up for this series. And so they were able to bring it so close. It was really fun to watch. And I really do think it's a top three here in NA. You know, we got Timeless, we got Toronto Defiant, but also M80 waiting on the other side of this bracket. They'll be playing Luminosity Gaming tomorrow. So this upper bracket is going to be real close. For the Toronto Defiant specifically, it is worth keeping in mind that we had a bit of a patch change a couple days ago. A lot of these teams were playing Mauga last week. Now you're seeing all these different compositions. I mean, someone flexing over to the Winston. We're seeing Junker Queen, Sigma comps. I feel like Toronto Defiant throughout the day have been maybe just one swap behind in some of these. They've been, you know, playing their ways. They did prefer playing some of these dive compositions. Sugarfree, a lot of Echo today. Some Doomfist as well. And this was really smart right here. You know, on defense, Zenyatta is going to be a really good hero. Even though Lucio is meta, you can afford to play Zenyatta because of the high ground. But then on the offense, you swap over to the Brawl. You know that you have to utilize Lucio to really step forward, because otherwise you're just going to get dove on by the defensive side. So there were some smart things by Toronto Defiant, but I don't feel like they're playing their peak right now. I still feel like Toronto Defiant, they have one more step to go, and maybe some of these patches are just throwing them off their game a little bit.
They're still evolving. But
they are still evolving.
They're still evolving.
You can say that for all teams.
Yeah, true.
But I think Toronto Defiant is like, everyone is really looking at Toronto Defiant in particular because of the players they picked up, because the pressure of performing for the organizations. True. Everyone has a swimming glass on Toronto Defiant. So it's tough. You got to perform.
Yeah, the way I'd put it, though, is just that quick patch before these matches is a bit of an equalizer, right? It makes the games a little more chaotic. Things are a little more uncertain because teams haven't workshopped through, okay, this counter and that counter, and where do the responses lead us, where they just go straight to it, right? They're solving that here live for us, and I think it makes it really fun to watch. But it is also, I think, more upset potential where maybe some of these teams, if they've got everything ironed out to a T, they could look better. But at the end of the day, I mean, comp-wise, I thought there were great moments for both teams. I didn't feel like the comps defined this match at all for me. I think it was about individual play, about team play coordination. And those are things that, yes, you get a little bit better at that, but so can Timeless. And so, honestly, for Toronto Defiant, I feel like you definitely have to take this series, and I mean, it's good that they've been humble, right? I don't think I've been talking them up, so have other people, but them, you listen to the players, the coaches, I don't think any of them is thinking, we can't lose maps, we're the best team ever. It's like, no, they're approaching this with humility, and that's how you actually go the distance into international events. You will take losses.
I mean, yeah, you have to approach it with humility, but at the same time, there's pressure on you. Because you got to handpick some of the best players in the world.
I mean, when they lose a series, believe me, when they lose a series, we'll start to worry.
Sure. I mean, they did win, but I mean, it was very close against Timeless. Do you guys feel like this is sort of like a wake-up call for Toronto to be like, okay, we got to focus up?
Well, I wouldn't say Timeless is one of the top 3 teams in NA. So for me, going to map 5 is like shows that NA is very tight.
Well, on the coin flip though, yes, I agree with you that NA is really tight. And also, I don't think it's a wake-up call for it because I do think that Toronto Defiant, they invest time, effort. They're already on top of their game. But as Jake said, these patches are neutralizer. The thing about Toronto Defiant, though, is they're not comparing themselves to Timeless necessarily. Timeless, they have up-and-coming players, a lot of talent we're finally getting to see. But Toronto Defiant, they're looking to compete with Falcons Esports in Korea, right?
Yeah.
They're looking to compete with WAC, with some of these roster with like Fearless, or not Fearless actually. He's the only one up there.
We love you, Fearless.
That was a good guess. It was a good guess, bro. If you had to guess an Overwatch player on the top.
Proper, Shio, Fielder. Some of these guys, right? They're comparing to those teams, WAC and Falcons Esports, right? They're not necessarily looking at Timeless. And so I think some viewers, some observers are seeing these results, Toronto losing maps in NA, and thinking to themselves, oh, Korea is by far the favorite.
I personally, I give them a pass. Which I'm hard on these teams. I'm hard on these players. I give them a pass because it's a very recent patch, and I think that level of chaos allows some of these scrappier teams where, like, you know what, just like let's play our best comps, let's play our confident heroes. It can give them more of a chance there. So, in time, let's see if people can keep replicating these results in NA against Toronto Defiant.
I mean, this was just the first day of main stage, so we got way more, and all those questions are going to be answered as we see more of these teams play.